Okay, I guess this would be part 2 in my pursuit to get rid of an annoying dialogue. Not to teach you how to do bad things. Any information I give you should be used only towards some good end. No, of course, none of this is anything you couldn't figure out on your own if you understood how import libraries work and DLLs and so on. You would know this. So it's not. There's nothing. There are no secrets here. What I did was I took my Hooker class or Hooker DLL project and added a header file to put all those number defines in, and so it's a little cleaner to look at. In this case, the module was kernel 32, and I traced out what the value of this second parameter in the startup function that gets called, and it's exactly the same as normally when you write a DLL. You just implement a function with this kind of name. I don't know if it's a capital, but something like that. This is the part that gets the real entry point, just as with any other C program. There's a part where the runtime library gets to get in before you and set up things for you, but I don't want any runtime library at all. And the way I got around the linking error that I was having was, I'm not exactly sure why it worked, but the linker error had to do with a compiler switch that has to do with runtime checks. Now, you probably know that there are certain checks that are automatically put into your code, like for stack overruns, buffer security, basic runtime checks are called, and this is an extra one. All I did was, well, first I selected, not this one, no. One of these I said select from project defaults. Anything else about checks? See, I have no default lib here now, which is what I want. And somehow or other, I got rid of the what they have slash RT something or other, right? Now there's no selection here to not have a slash RT something or other. So I selected the only thing that didn't have that, which said inherit from project default. Same with this, but that selection seems to have disappeared now. Oh no, not this one, this one. Okay, no problem. Then I got rid of what I had included here, like standard lib, things, did a printf, stuff like that, and then it worked, and it all linked and complies. And what's it called? So there it is, correctly. The other thing I should mention is the reason it surprises me about this extra debugging info here is because I'd never seen it before, but now I know why I've never seen it before. I remember now because I didn't know what I was supposed to do, because see, I want to include Windows.h, right? And that, of course, has all those functions defined, right? So I can't just go ahead and redefine them. And I used to have a second file where I would define them there, and then in the definition file I didn't need this equals. So now that I'm using the equals, it's telling me about it. But that has no relevance. Okay, so now I've broken it up to either it's an unknown thing, so we want to resolve that to a jump. That's what these do. Jump. This pragma directive decals back naked, okay, means that there's no stack frame created. I can put a breakpoint on one of these things and disassemble. What was the one that we were on? I also found out about this get module file name. If you pass null, it returns the name of the executable, not the current module. Okay. Go. Now by Alt 7. You see? There's no surrounding code around this function. All it is a jump. And any other code that I might add in here would also not have any surrounding stack frame creation or anything like that. Okay. So that's what naked does. It strips away the stack frame stuff. So in a sense, the function is naked. It has no stack frame. It's unwrapped. Okay. Now, what about those functions I want to override? TP is supposed to stand for type. So I've defined something called a cast, and you can imagine how this might work. Say if you think of this as bool, standard call, and name. So this becomes bool bracket standard call star function name, and then all the arguments specified here. So the declaring of a function where we know the type can be done using this macro, this casting macro, calling convention, pf name, which is my standard chosen, and arguments set equal to null. So these are analogous. I could put that on one line. It's not too bad. Just so you get the idea of it. It's not two separate lines. It's just one line, as this is one line. And this here is the equivalent of a type of cast. Loading, of course, is set the pointer to function name to, if it's an unknown type func, I just cast it as an unknown type func, pass it a module name. Otherwise, if it's a known func, on the left is the function name, then the cast, empty arg is just defines blank. An example might look like write file a or something equals move. I don't know what it is exactly. Empty arg is empty, so you just get a star there. Handle LP void, something like that. I don't know. D word, LP D word, and P over, something like that. Get proc address, write file. Hey, so that's how that would get resolved. PF truncated with that, and then return value, calling convention, the name, which is, there is no name because this is just a typecast. Oh, and brackets, of course. An extra set of brackets. This whole thing is just a cast, believe it or not. Which is why I use typedefs for these things, generally. So now that tells the compiler that the return value from this function is of this type. Right? Pointer to function that returns a bool and takes the handle, the PC void, and a blah 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 blah. So now I got all that set up, which makes everything nice and easy. And if I'm going to use a console, I just define this to make use of a console for debug tracing, let's say. And when that's true, I want to free the console when we're leaving. Alec when we're attaching, and free when we're leaving. Well, that's probably not generally correct, but it's good enough for my purposes. I can imagine more than one process could attach to the same. Maybe not, though. Maybe this only happened once. But how can you have another process in the same address space? Okay, so that's great for Hooker here with kernel 32, kernel 32. I should call this Hooker, shouldn't I? Okay. The reason for that you'll see in a minute. Now, what the one I want to make is going to be for user 32, which was where that function was actually located. I made a mistake last time. I've copied it over here. Okay, so I can do that dumpbin. dialog, right? Create dialog box for this here is not the one. It's going to be this one, and that's user 32. Okay. So I want my own user 32, and I'm going to have to override all those functions. So what I do is send this to copy project, call it user 32. I've already sort of done this. Going through it again. Okay. And then add a project. Okay. Now my copy project thing does some rename. So now this is called user32.def. This still says hooker. Probably not. It's probably not included in my thing. But anyway, this is we want this to be used instead of user32. Used or something. Keep it the same length. And these are not the functions we want to export. As far as the rest goes, I still have all my definitions. So that's all still there. Let's close everything. Okay. Here's my thing here. And we'll have to set all that up in a minute. First thing is we gotta fill in this table. Now here's the table. I'm going to show you that it's not as hard as you'd think it would be, like a lot of typing. If you have available to you keyboard macros and an understanding of how to use a batch file. And I made a batch file. I'm going to rename it actually. What is it? Exports to imports to exports. Imp to export. I'll show you how that works. I'm sure it was Dell name. Dell name. Oh, I agree. Imp, right? Imp to Where is it? It's still N. Oh, I'm so dumb. Now, okay. How to use a batch file. First thing is I want this thing to take an argument, a def file. And so this is just an arg check to see if there's any argument. And if you've seen any of my videos on command processor, this is how you do it. This is the magical sequence that allows you to safely compare a variable against nothing. And trust me, there's a reason for that. If there is no argument, it should beep and say error argument and then go to the end of the file. Now I'm using this special for/f, and this is a file parsing for, and it goes line by line. Tokens are things that are delimited by delimiters, typically spaces, okay? But you can change that. I want the first and the second token out of each line of the file, starting at letter I, so that means I'm going to get 2 things out for each line, an I and a J. And I'm going to call a subroutine here, and I flip them. Okay. Now there's this problem that the first 2 lines don't fit the format. So here I'm checking for these possibilities. I don't know if that's possible, but I put it in anyway. Certainly, definitely. The first thing is going to be some kind of word, so that can be anything. But the second thing's got to be a number. And if it's not a number, it's either going to be this, this, or this. Right? Yeah, you see they're flipped. So for the first line, used 32 would be the first. So it can either be this, this, or blank. In those cases, I wouldn't want to do anything. Now I have a thing that converts from bases to bases. The way that this batch file works is a utility batch file which has routines inside of it, and you can select the routine that you want. And I want to convert from one base to another base, and the argument is as given. Has to be a number. Has to be something that it understands as a number. And I know that it's going to be in hex, so I've got to prefix that with a hex prefix. The second argument indicates what base we're going from. Seems strange. Sorry, we're going to. So I want the output in base 10. Right? That's all that is. And I would like the value, the turned value, to be stored in this variable. And then I'm going to echo %1, which would be a function name, and then equals my underscore, same name, and then some more spaces, at, and the decimal value. Now watch what happens when I run this. what does it call it? Int to x. Use directory to def. So what I'm getting here is what I want. These are the things I want to export, and I'm going to set them up as I normally do, and these have been converted to base 10 as they have to be. It looks like a mess, but we can clean it up. We'll run that into the clipboard. This might take a minute. This is a new feature, by the way. You didn't used to be able to redirect batch files to it. We'll put it down here and make sure it's correct. Okay, looks right. Don't need that line. One way, because this editor has column editing, which is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Actually, it's probably greater than sliced bread. You can do all kinds of great things, like what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to verify that this output is correct. You see why column editing went too far. Attributes. That's okay. You can always undo. Just a little further. Okay. So you can see that everything is lining up correctly and nothing got missed. So everything's fine. Now I can get rid of that and do this instead. Now actually I'd like to move that up a bit. And well, whoops, what did I just do? This part is just silliness, doesn't need to be lined up here. But it doesn't take that long. I could probably invent a macro to do this. Well, that program, but not. Yeah. How far do I gotta go? Well, I know. All I gotta do in order to fix this problem is again, well, those ones are fine. Use the fact that this thing comes equipped with column editing. Can I go back further? Far enough. Okay. It has to be a column. Go to my hole. You see what column editing adds to your editing experience? And I can do the same thing with the numbers. And there. No problem. Why? Column editing. There. I didn't screw that one up. I think it was right. Let's make sure. I can't anything. No. I think it was right. The fact that I can do this within the time frame of a single video should be proof enough that why every editor doesn't have this feature with the shame. See, if you just copy it in the regular way, it's going to include a character. But as a column, it just stays in place. You can get the whole thing. There we go. Anyway, you get the idea. So now, I'm gonna pause for a sec. I'll fix up the numbers, and then I'm just gonna make my table. So I'll be right back. Okay. So now this should be the correct list of functions that I need to export and their ordinal values. These are all the ones used by that program. So now, first thing I want to do is user user 32, and it's still the same. So take one as an example. And the ones I want are on the left. So now I would like to think of see now. I have a good one for I want to get rid of these extra spaces, but I think I can do that pretty easily by searching just for a space. But sometimes this doesn't work. I just did Control L, which for me means clear these. Clear enough to the end of the wall. Come on. The thing about the macro thing is they messed it up in this particular version. And what they messed up was it's not part of the program. It's a separate process. Now, depending on how I launch this, it's going to work or not, depending on which process launched the compiler. Bring back. This will be all spaces. This will help me make another keyboard macro to fill in the rest. Question is how far down? Okay. So now all those lines are terminated properly. Copy this, record a new macro. See, it doesn't take that long if you use these macros with column editing and so on. And it needs sometimes a batch file to deal with the difficult scenarios. Okay. So now they're all declared. And essentially now I want to do the same thing with this. How much time have we used? Okay, that's a lot of time already. So I'll upload this and I'll complete filling in all the blanks. And I'm going to modify that executable and just make sure that it runs first using the DLL, the new DLL. This is called used instead of user. Used 32. And we can see in Process Explorer if it's truly using that. Everything will be jumps. And then what we could do for fun, if we like, is we could change the macro, the thing that just jumps, to maybe print something out on the console before jumping. And we would have to probably, I think we would need we could make a stack frame just by hand. Okay, so I'll see you then.